Security experts are warning this morning of a fresh wave of cyber attacks today as the virus that's hit the NHS could be reactivated by computers that haven't been switched on since Friday.
Well, more than 200,000 users in over 150 countries have been affected by the virus. It takes control of computer files and demands ransom payments to have them released. We're joined now by Bryan Lourd, the former Deputy Director for Cyber and Intelligence Operations at GCHQ. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Good morning. This is, potentially catastrophic. People could die because of this. You've got a lot of NHS hospitals which are currently sort of rudderless. It does prompt the question, how has this been allowed to happen? This is not like the most sophisticated hack we've ever seen. This is a deliberate targeting of old software, no longer supported by Microsoft, that clearly has not been upgraded by the people whose job it is to upgrade it.
I mean, that's a very fair analysis. I mean, the nature of this attack is twofold. I think, first of all, it is probably the largest well-coordinated attack of distribution of ransomware at any one time. And yes, it has become prevalent and dominant in organisations where the patches, with those are the elements of software that are needed to protect oneself from.
These are the updates.
The updates that are issued by the providers have not been installed. A patch for this particular piece of malware was available in mid-March. Right. It was issued by Microsoft in mid-March.
And so a lot of these NHS trusts, they have simply not adopted the patch that Microsoft put out, even though they no longer support that old format. They did put out a patch, a fix, an update 2 months ago. And a lot of them haven't acted on it.
That is indeed correct. And I don't think the NHS is peculiar to the NHS. This is common, rather unfortunately, as we see, across a lot of organisations.
Yeah, but in most other industries where this has happened, people don't die. The difference when you target the NHS in this huge amount is that people could die. And it does prompt the question, and we haven't heard from the Health Secretary, Jeremy Hunt. This is incredibly serious, isn't it? I mean, if you're in charge of health in this country, does it get more serious than this?
I think what we have is a National Health Service. Indeed, it's serious because it has increasingly become dependent upon IT systems in terms of supporting the operational capability of the NHS, and IT systems to allow part of the NHS to talk to each other.
So you're in charge? Right.
Unfortunately, I'm not in charge.
No,
we're right to be in charge.
Situation.
I'm putting you in charge, right? What do we now do as a matter of urgency? We're told there might be more attacks today. What do we do as a matter of urgency to protect our hospitals from further attacks like this?
OK, so there are two things we do. One of the things which will have been happening over the weekend and will continue to happen this morning. So, first of all, the patches will be installed. Secondly, there will be...
When you say they will be, do you mean it is up to individual users or IT heads to make sure that those are installed? Because presumably that would have been happening over the weekend.
Yes, that will have been happening over the weekend. That has been happening over the weekend. So the patches that Microsoft have made available, that have been available since mid-March, or the new one that has been released to patch the old systems, will have been deployed across the NHS, and the protection against this ransomware will have been installed. Secondly,
give me a reason why every IT director working for the NHS in this country who didn't do the patch when it was released 2 months ago should not be fired.
Unfortunately, I can't make any comment on hiring and firing decisions made within the NHS.
I mean, they're doing it now. We've been attacked, and 2 months ago they all got told to do it. They're IT directors. They have literally one job, IT.
So, IT directors have one job, and IT director's job is to make sure the information technology systems work and make data available to organisations.
And have the latest updates for security. I mean, I do the latest updates on my Mac, for example, because I get notified. A little thing comes up going, software update available. You click on it, and you protect yourself.
That's right. I think it's worth bearing in mind, both within the NHS and any large organisation, that all kinds of updates happen. They're always scheduled. They're scheduled as quickly as they possibly can. But that balance for an IT director has to be made between system availability and usability and security. Yeah. There is always a trade-off. I can't speak for the NHS, but what we saw in the NHS is not inconsistent with what happens across a lot of government departments and other industry. Yeah. I recognise the impact is significantly very serious, but they have not deviated from, however wrong that may be, from a practice which is endemic, rather sadly, endemic across large organisations.
That has to change, doesn't it? All right, 6:30. Bryan Lourd, former GCHQ Deputy Director for Intelligence and Cyber Operations. Goodness me.
Can I ask one question before we let you go?
As long as you're not going to put me in charge of the NHS.
Well, no, but should GCHQ be doing more? I mean, how can this country come under such a huge cyber attack and GCHQ basically take a bit of a back step and say, well, actually, it's not our responsibility?
It's a fair comment. First of all, the National Cyber Security Centre, which is part of GCHQ, has been set up in the last 2 or 3 months, who take a lead on this type of thing. They have consistently provided advice, guidance, standards, and knowledge across government on these kind of issues. But naturally, as an organisation, it cannot be responsible for implementing those. Okay. Those need to sit in the respective parts of government.
OK. Bryan Lourd, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.